The following podcast contains spoilers and adult language. Listener discretion is advised.
I'm Amanda Burse, and you are listening to the Showdown podcast. Did I get it right?
You got it right.
Hey everybody, thanks for downloading the new episode. I do want to give you a heads up before we get into the episode. There is a little bit of some audio issues with some of the music that plays in here. We don't know what happened. We tried a new setup, and unfortunately it looks like we got some things we have to work on. So, that being said, don't let that deter you. The rest of the episode sounds great, and hope you enjoy the show.
The Showdown Podcast presents the Survivor Series with Corey Miller, Vic Miller, and Brad Scott. This week's episode, X-Men Origins Wolverine. Showdown are celebrating a milestone only reached by 2.8 million other podcasts, which is our 100th episode. And there's a party going on around here. I am joined for this episode, as always, by Vic. There weren't enough black mutants in the movie Miller. And Corey, there were too many black mutants in the movie Miller. And I am Brad, Remy Martin, and Weed Scott, and this is the award-winning Showdown podcast. So in 100 episodes, we've won 3 awards.
Yep.
Yes. We average one every 33 episodes.
Exactly.
So episode 132, we're looking at you. Gonna be a doozy. But congratulations, guys. In all seriousness, when we started this podcast, what, 2 years ago?
Yeah, it's
2.5 years ago.
We started it. It was almost, I think it was like 2.5. I know we started at the beginning of the football season. Yep. Because our first episode was The Longest Yard versus The Longest Yard.
August 30th, 2014. So 2.5 years.
Yep.
Right?
Too shabby. Yep.
Not bad at all. So, did you ever think we'd get to 100 episodes?
I figured you'd kill Corey before we got to 100 episodes, so I'm actually pretty impressed.
Yeah.
I am kind of, yeah.
I figured he would have, ran you out of town.
Of course.
So, over this time, what are some of your fond memories or moments from the Showdown?
Go ahead.
For me, it was the first most ridiculous, fucked up loss I ever took, and that was Police Academy versus
Weekend at Bernie's.
Weekend at Bernie's. That was by far the most fucked up loss I've ever had, and I think still to date this may be the most fucked up loss I ever had.
Maybe one of the most referenced episodes as well too.
I think it is definitely.
But I mean, okay, so think about it that way, Vic. You have to feel better about it now, right?
Oh
because his defense, as dumb as it is the reason for I think a lot of people's favorite, one of their favorite episodes. By the way, if you're a new listener. The Weekend at Bernie's and Police Academy episode. Who else was on the show? Do you remember?
It was Bob East.
Mm-hmm. Bob East. The Beast from the East was here. Is episode 31. Vic chose Police Academy. Corey, or you were given the movies, right?
Yeah,
they were given movies for that episode. And Corey had Weekend at Bernie's, and just listen to his defense and why he won. And Vic went crazy. What about you, Corey?
I've got two of my favorite episodes. One of them is one we reference a lot, which is No Retreat, No Surrender, and Masters of the Universe.
Probably the first good episode we did.
Yeah.
Honestly.
No Retreat, No Surrender?
Yeah, that was like, okay, that was
That was like in top 10, wasn't it?
That was a pulled out of nowhere episode, too.
That was episode 6.
Yeah.
The first 5 were trash.
Yeah.
Episode 6, though, that was also where we first discovered a much used sound clip, sometimes forgotten.
Unfortunately, not by you.
The Cosmic Key.
Never forgotten.
The Cosmic Key, baby. That's a great episode for the Cosmic Key. Made its debut here on the Showdown. It's become a lasting sound effect, much to Corey's dismay. But yeah, honestly, that was the first episode where we were actually funny, I think. And one of the only good ones, I think.
Not to pat
of
ourselves on the back too much.
Well, no, we're a funny show now, but comedy, like anything, takes work
you
to figure out. And we were awful. I mean, I don't think it's as much patting ourselves on the back when I'm saying we didn't have a good episode until episode 6, followed by that was then probably the only good episode until episode 18,
There's
17.
quite a bit of self-deprecation there.
Yeah. What was your other one?
My other one was when you and I did one with Steve Simone.
Oh, the Willy Wonka and
Willy
the Chocolate
Wonka,
Factory episode with comedian Steve Simone, one of the funniest comedians in the world. Very, very funny. He's a Los Angeles comedian, and he was kind enough to sit down with us. You know what I really liked about that episode? You barely talked.
I'm sure that was the reason.
The moment I needed him the most to be engaging,
I wasn't there, so you didn't have anyone else.
Do you notice something else about that episode too? Typically, when we have a movie, we will dog it a lot too, just as much as we do praise it. We didn't dog that movie at all.
Well, because the guy we were speaking to, it's his favorite movie of all time, and he's a friend of mine, and it's a good movie. It was one of my favorite movies as a kid.
But there were really no flaws to dog it about. That's what I'm.
No, there wasn't. There was. I mean, well, we did kind of jokingly talk about the fact they couldn't walk, and then all of a sudden they're getting up.
Yeah.
Like we touched on that, but yeah, there's times to be sensitive.
Yeah. Yeah, but that again, that was between those two. Those are my two favorite.
And that's from May of last year. If you want to go back and listen to that, it's just about a year or so behind. Yeah.
What about you?
Oh, I don't know. Honestly, I really enjoyed the television, the A-Team Mission Impossible episode, because that's where I think we started shifting more to using like music reference from what we were talking about for things.
Yeah, I don't remember the
Matt Holt was our guest. That's episode 36, and yeah, a lot of mine are old battles. I used to like listening to you guys argue because it was so much easier to make fun of you. Now you kind of. I think this is why he got us on the Survivor Series so much, Vic. I've been thinking about that. Remember how he kept being like, I mean, I don't know. If, I just think people like the Survivor Series more.
Time for us
I think it's because he knows he can hide in the Survivor Series. He doesn't have to put himself out there. He can hide. If you look at his loser game show sound numbers, I guarantee you they're much higher on a battle episode than they are in a Survivor Series.
I think so.
That's probably true.
Though I can say that our most recent battle was actually one of my favorites too. I've never seen Corey fucking just completely flabbergasted.
Oh, that was that was the
with Friday and Soul Plane.
Friday and Soul Plane. That is that's one of the numbered episodes for some reason.
I quit.
Non-numbered episode. Yeah, that's from November of last year.
Yeah.
Pretty recent, but yeah, that was great. You went with.
I went with Friday.
You went with Friday, and
he had his thing. He the store fire locked it in.
Yeah, he was so confident before the episode, and then Vic just hit you with sound clips. He let other people argue for him, and yeah, that may be more of a fuck up than one of my other favorite movies. Was you trying to argue for the Halloween episode? Remember the first Halloween episode, Vic?
Yep.
Corey, what was your movie for the Halloween episode?
I don't remember. I
can look it up right here.
Yeah, it's on the list.
Yeah, luckily on iTunes, they let me go back for every episode.
I need to delete that one off iTunes.
So October 30th. Oh, you released it the day before Halloween. You had that all planned out.
Right.
You were going to take that victory lap while you were trick or treating. Episode 8, Halloween versus Stephen King's It. Vic, who had the namesake movie? Who had Halloween?
I think it was Corey.
Corey, you had Halloween.
Oh, did I?
I had a TV miniseries that featured a giant spider at the end, but you didn't know that, did you, Corey?
No, I knew that.
You've been drinking, hadn't you? This is your intervention. We should have done it on episode 9, but we wait.
Indulging in the sauce.
Hey, no, this is perfect. We should have done this intervention on episode 9 since you were so drunk on episode 8. But episode 9 was Half Baked versus Days of Confused, and we forgot.
I can't imagine why.
But no, if you haven't enjoyed the show, if you're a newer listener, go back and listen to some of the older ones, but not too many of the really older ones, because everything
Especially
before
episode
episode
1.
16 is me trying to battle a movie, and I'm awful at it, and it's so boring. It is hard to listen to. There's a couple of better nuggets, like you said, in the Masters of the Universe, No Retreat, No Surrender. There's some other stuff there, but man, that's not one you put on while you got a long drive.
We had some growing pains, but we got.
Well, yeah, flip ahead after episode. So basically, 83 episodes have been pretty good. Yeah. It's just those first 16 that really get you. So, well, yeah, that's enough grandizing. We are more of a self-deprecating podcast. We've said a little too many good things about ourselves. So let's get to it. This week's before we actually get that, you guys released the Oscars episode.
Yes, sir.
This past weekend in anticipation of the Oscars, and did you guys catch the Oscars?
Didn't see it.
Excellent.
I was watching Walking Dead.
There wasn't enough black people in it for me.
All right, perfect for a movie podcast.
Did you watch it?
I did not.
3 for 3. We're
But
on a
okay,
roll.
you saw with my picks how serious I was taking the Oscars.
Yeah.
But I did note it, like, man, it is going to be so awkward when they have to go up to the Moonlight people and be like, ugh, we didn't want to do this twice on TV, but actually the Blair Witch Project 1999
They
won
were the
Best
actual
Picture.
winners.
We're sorry. This is weird. That's going to be a shame.
That was one we meant to give to him. We forgot.
Going through those lists, we realized that we just have not seen any of those fucking movies. There's only like 3
and I have
movies
people that say that
anyone's
to me
seen.
all the time. They're like, "Oh, don't you do a movie podcast?" I'm like, "We don't talk about new movies,
Yeah.
first of all." And you know what new movie I'm going to go see? My next one, Get Out.
Yeah.
Right?
That's the next movie I'm going to see.
Right?
So I don't think that's an Oscar-worthy motion picture to some people.
Yeah, exactly.
That only made $30 million opening weekend. I am surprised by that.
You know that was number 1, and that's really, really big for a horror movie about race.
I'm not saying it's not good. I thought it was going to be higher.
There were a lot of black people that were afraid of that movie.
Okay, first of all, that's not adding in the bootleg sales. If you add in the number of DVDs sold at gas stations across America of Get Out, made $3 billion this weekend, Corey. But no, it's being actually that's so weird that you're like, oh, it only made. It shows how little you know about like movies and financing and everything else. Because they were like, literally, I heard that on 3 different podcasts and radio shows where they were like, whoa, Get Out. 30 million opening weekend, opens number 1. Like, it was a low budget movie that had like very little expectations, because horror movies typically don't do well, and especially
Horror movies always do well. That's just the opposite. Yeah.
no, not low budget horror movies. Your big box office ones, I'm sure, do,
your
but
mainstream
low budget
name
horror
ones.
movies typically don't do well in the box office. Go look at how much The Witch made. Probably made $30 million total, and it's considered by some, not me, because I think that movie's fucking awful.
Yep.
But it's considered by some to be one of the best horror movies in years.
Is that the movie with Philip?
Yeah, the
Black
goat.
Yeah.
The goat, where the first 5 minutes, the witch kills the baby, and you're like, oh shit, this might be a really fucked up movie. Then it's just them on a farm.
Yeah.
People getting sick, and they're like, it must be a witch. It's like, no, you motherfuckers don't have modern medicine.
You need to eat a fucking orange.
Yeah. Sinuses will kill you,
Scurvy.
bitches. Like, Jesus.
You got
it
a
was,
splinter,
I
you're
thought it
gonna
was
die of
slow and
infection.
boring.
Yeah, I did too.
But anyways, we're getting off topic.
Well, yeah.
Those are the kind of movies I watch.
Right.
So, I don't know. What were we even
You were looking for this year's Tusk. That's what you were looking for.
Ah, see, that's a good movie. That's a damn good movie. Speaking of which, do we have stuff to do?
Yeah.
And now, the Showdown Podcast history. Corey?
Mine's actually a little interesting. Well, not really interesting. But I used to work in a movie theater, and I worked there when this movie came out. So I would see parts of it sporadically until I ended up piecing it all together. And then I saw it when it came out on video. I ended up watching it again.
Vic?
It's a comic book movie, so as soon as it came out, I was in the theater to watch it. It's got 2 of my favorite characters in it, for one, and one of my favorite bad guys, so I was very excited about it coming out.
Both you were real talkative this segment. I saw
I
it.
figured I was going to take up time.
I saw it on video shortly after it came out on video. This has been the Showdown Podcast history.
I couldn't let him out talk me.
By the way, I'm trying to think of who was the last guest that we had.
Vibbert.
No. Before Vibbert. It was someone else. I don't remember, but I just remember them being amazed by how well they could time that out.
Oh, it was the Cinema Cavalcade.
Yeah. And I just thought about that. And I'm like, well, it's because I'm used to having to work on the fly, adjusting to the time, because you jackasses will talk for 25 seconds. Only to say, well, I saw the movie in bits and pieces, and then I pieced it all together in my head. So let's get to our new game where we test Corey's knowledge that he's shown none of today for Hollywood, and it's what did it cost? What did it make? That's the game. We tell him what it cost.
Are you sure that was the name of it?
I don't know. I can't remember if we had a name or not. I know it's not a sponsored segment.
It's the budget game, and
the budget game.
Okay.
Hold on a second.
We give Corey the budget, and he tries to figure out how much it made.
You know what this also
worldwide.
does? This gives us a good excuse to use music we hardly ever use anymore.
Okay.
It's the budget game.
So I was going to say commercial time.
All right. X-Men Origins Wolverine, Corey. The movie was released May 1st, 2009 in the United States. Budget was $150 million. How much did it make?
$210.
$210.
Yeah.
Calling it a major flop.
It wouldn't be major. It made money.
But $150 million was the budget. In order for a movie to be a success, it has to at least double its budget. That would be $300.
All right, hold on. He says 210, Vic.
I'm going to go with 210.
He says 210. Corey? No shock there. $373 million.
Damn.
Yeah, which is a mild success.
Just a little bit.
It just made it.
But not for me.
So, Vic, tell us about X-Men Origins Wolverine.
All right, so this movie starts out with us being introduced to young Logan as a child in, I think it was like the 1800s or something like that. I'm not sure the exact time, but basically he's a young aristocrat, an aristocrat's kid, and you hear a kerfuffle going on inside the house.
A what?
A kerfuffle. It's a thing.
I just
Look
wanted
it
to
up.
say it again.
And the dad comes running in the house, and he informs the kid to stay there, stay safe, and you hear a fight ensue. Somebody apparently dies, and a guy, scruffy-looking guy, walks in who's apparently the groundskeeper for the estate, and he proclaims that he is actually his father, and he has killed who he thought was his father. Young Logan apparently hits puberty right at that moment and kills his biological father.
Should have gone on Maury.
With his
do you remember
handheld
that,
shiz.
though? Like, do you remember the first time your bone claws came out of your skin? So awkward. I think mine happened
like,
during
what do
class.
you
I had
do?
to, like, put a book over it. So, yeah, and I was like, his name is Jimmy.
Yeah.
It's no wonder he changed it to Logan.
Yeah.
Logan sounds a lot more badass than Jimmy.
Yeah.
That's all Magneto would be doing to him every time he saw him.
What's
Jimmy.
up, Jimmy?
Flipping him in the back
Oh,
of
come
the head.
on, Jimmy.
Jimmy, it's so cute.
Jimmy's getting mad. That's a
Jimmy thinks
Seinfeld
he can take me. So
Seinfeld.
he kills his father, his biological father, and he is then informed that he's his biological father, which his mother was a whore.
Bother.
And he runs out of the house to get away.
Hold on, Vic. This gives us the perfect excuse
Uh-oh.
to. Oh, hold on. I've got something. I discovered this a couple of weekends ago, and it has made me. It has made my life complete. Do you remember this?
Yo, I want to dedicate this song to Philip Arthur Harrison, because he was the one who took me from a boy to a man. As far as I'm concerned, he's my father, as my biological father.
Do you remember this?
I Very big.
Can you name the rapper?
I thought a shower was great till then gold, but I guess not. This
is Shaquille O'Neal. By the way, this is on an album on iTunes called The Best of Shaquille O'Neal. There's 12 tracks.
If this is one of them, is the other 11 with Fushnikins?
No, I don't think so. No, but he did have Fife. He had Fife on the song. You gotta remember how popular Shaq was.
Yeah, he was.
Like, even though, like, we look back and we're like, wow, he's a really bad rapper. Like, people then, he was just a 7-foot dude who was like, you know, kind of a badass. Yeah, like, this is another Jim.
Word 'em up, King Dog, check in the house for 9 train, 9 quad. Yo, we from North, so you know we represent. Yo, E, break it in! Do you want me to shoot it? No! Do you want me to pass it? No!
Yeah!
Hold on.
Fucking Onyx.
All right. If we're gonna do this, you have to at least do the Fushnikins one.
I don't know what's the song called.
Oh God.
Don't look at me.
Because honestly, there's nothing that says Fushnikins on
Really? Let me see.
any of these. No, look, you think I can't read?
No, I'm looking at the names.
This is why you don't make the segments.
How about that one? No, that's not it.
That's not it. So now we're just gonna go through the entire catalog and you going no. Could you get to a close? All right, moving on.
Only this show could go from Wolverine to talking about Shaq's best of album.
Hey, well, at least he played a superhero in one movie.
And at least I knew where I was going. I knew I had biological didn't bother, which was going to be funny. And then I knew when we started talking about Shaq, I knew Shoot Past Slam was going to be funny. And then you just killed the entire thing by requesting a song you didn't know the name of. Or really knew how it sounded.
By a group that very few people will remember.
There's probably some people going, it's blah, blah, blah. They're like yelling at their headphones.
Continue, Vic.
So, Jimmy / Logan is running through the woods, and he begins to be chased by a slightly older young man who we find out is Victor Creed, who is the other son of the man that Wolverine just killed. Who apparently was an ass because even Victor didn't care that he was dead. He's just like, oh, you killed him? All right, cool, let's go before we get in trouble. And they both ran off. And we get to see the progression of their lives from the the Civil War into World War I, World War II, Vietnam.
What side did they fight on in the Civil War?
Looked like the Union. I think it was the Union. Pretty sure.
I don't know.
But yeah, so they...
I like the transition. Listen, that's
Corey's like, I immediately hated Wolverine.
As soon as I saw what side he was
Fine
on.
for the Yankees. They're trying to take away my Vic.
So
anyway, I liked the transition.
Yeah, the transitions were
really
awesome.
cool.
And then let's see the scenes where they, especially when they were storming Normandy, the beach of Normandy.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing that I don't like about this movie for sure is whenever they decide to try to make Sabretooth, who I don't think they refer to him as Sabretooth ever, do they?
No.
That kind of made me mad too. But they do this weird, like, where he's trying to run on all fours, and you can tell they have him attached to a harness, and it's this weird, like, jumping, four-legged running thing he does, and it does not make any sense or look even halfway normal at all. Or, like, it's just ridiculous. But they jumps in and just starts tearing up everybody, and you see the progression, how aggressive and how, like, evil he becomes during that thing, to where it gets to where they're in Vietnam and he's trying to rape a village girl, and they end up getting a firing squad, getting in front of a firing squad.
And they get shot, but nobody bothers to say anything like, "How are you guys still alive?"
Oh no, Trask does. They end up in jail, and Trask comes in and he's like, "So you're both supposed to be dead, and you're not."
Yeah, he's the only one that says anything though.
I got a proposition for you, and that's how they end up in the Weapon X squad. The Weapon X program, I should say, in which they are joined with multiple other mutants.
Wait, didn't they have wasn't Sabretooth in the original first X-Men movie?
Yes.
And wasn't he like the comic book Sabretooth?
No, it wasn't. That was horrible. Like, I could.
That's not how he looked in the comics?
No. is
from the first movie.
So no, because like they tried
When he finds
to,
him in the snow.
Yeah, they tried to do this thing with him where they made him this big brooding whatever, like animal looking thing. But
Yeah.
Sabretooth looks like Liev Schreiber. Like that's what he actually looks like.
Well,
but
but
he wears like a coat thing that gives him this like lion's mane.
Okay, so
looking
they
thing.
just used that coat thing and
Yeah.
made it his actual part of him.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, my thing is like he never mentions that's his brother in that one.
No,
No.
and that's something that's been said when this movie.
Well, because I mean, it's fine and all if you're just a movie as a movie, but you guys always want to be the ones connecting everything, and you even do that at the end here with like, so it's kind of like, yeah, you fucked up.
Well, in the comic books, one of the threads is that they believe that Sabretooth is actually older than him and could possibly be his father. So there's a couple different ways that they've kind of thrown.
How do
this
they
out
also
there.
decide what age they stop aging at? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, okay, you go from a little kid to mid-30s,
Yeah.
then just stop?
Yeah,
Like, when does that...
because you would think your healing factor when it kicks in at 13 is probably when it would probably
yeah,
be
like, or just why mid-30s?
yeah.
Because that's how old Hugh Jackman is, and we can't find anyone else that can play Wolverine.
Exactly.
Like, does the Wolverine franchise die with Hugh Jackman?
Well, did you notice that Hugh Jackman aged and Victor stopped aging because Victor's actually looks younger than Logan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
Why would-
really quick it happens. So you're like, so how come he doesn't look any different, but Logan definitely looks older now?
And wasn't this like the first movie where everybody's like, holy shit, Ryan Reynolds is fucking cut?
No, because
Oh,
was,
no,
he
I
was
guess
in Blade.
Amityville Horror.
No,
Blade.
Amityville Horror. That was the one I was thinking of because that's where he's chopping the wood and shit shirtless through the whole movie.
Was that
That's
before
when it
or
was.
after Blade Trinity?
I think that was
before. I think.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
Blade Trinity, he was pretty buff too.
Yeah, he was.
But remember,
Yeah,
it's so weird because you're like, that's Van Wilder.
I go back farther to that that Canadian soap opera teen show. I used to watch that. My sister used to watch it.
Canadian soap opera. TV
Yeah.
show.
Degrassi.
No, it's called 16, I think, or something. It
Okay.
used to be on Nickelodeon.
You've seen Degrassi?
I haven't watched it. No, I've heard of it.
You know Drake was on that show.
Right.
Yeah.
And he played a
kid
kid
in
in
a
a
wheelchair.
wheelchair.
Yeah.
And there was this like not VH1, it's like an MTV type thing where they followed Drake on like his first tour when his first album came out and he was like huge. And at one of the concerts, it's one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. And I don't know why it makes me laugh so hard. But he's on stage and he's like, my name is Drake Aubrey Graham. He's like yelling into the mic in front of a sea of people. And they're all cheering. And he's like, I was on a show called Degrassi. And they all cheer like, He's like, I was in a motherfucking wheelchair. And they all just go crazy. And I don't know why, but just, I was in a motherfucking wheelchair is one of the funniest things.
I don't understand why he would even say that.
I don't know, but it was so great. Anyways, continuing. So yeah, they get hooked into the X Squad.
Well, yeah, they get put in the X Squad, which is okay. So all of these characters, I'll start out by telling you because Corey usually asks. They're all actual characters from Marvel Comics.
Yes, I knew that.
In one way, shape, or form. But it's just a really weird amalgamation of they're just weird characters for them to draw. They like try to find the most obscure characters to throw into this group for some reason.
Now, were any of these characters in the comics together in this group?
Well, first of all, the Blob is definitely not because he's with the Brother of the Mutants. He was with Magneto almost all the time.
That's what I was thinking from the cartoon.
Wyclef Jean's character, which I can't remember his name right
Who?
now. I mean, Will.i.am, not Wyclef Jean. Will.i.am. Why is that like right on cue? What the fuck?
Yeah, there's
How random is that?
well, it's not as much random. And
You were gonna
I knew
say
you were
it.
talking about the other people in the cast. So I pulled it up. But yeah, that was not Wyclef Jean.
Yeah, it's Will.i.am.
Yeah, I was trying to think of the guy's name too. You're supposed to know this.
They're
Mr. Marvel
obscure-
over there.
They're obscure characters that don't really mean anything to anybody, so it's weird.
Well, he played the character because he wanted to play a character like that had the same John Wraith.
Yes, but I will tell you that the likeness is fucking uncanny.
John Wraith is not going to be gone till November. Ready or not, Will.i.am played this character.
But there's a very, very, very good likeness. Like that's exactly what the character
When he was part of the X Squad, He didn't murder people with a lot of noise. He killed them softly with his song.
Anyway,
Was that throwing it back at me?
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of ran out of steam there.
I see what you did
I was
there.
going Fuji. I guess
see
it
what
could have
you
been
did
like, I don't know, when he celebrated Christmas, he would sing Fuji la la la. I don't know. That was about as next as I was going to. Moving on.
So he puts together this squad of mutants that are basically hunting down other mutants and eliminating them, which is what Victor's been doing the whole time. But meanwhile, they are collecting, and this is kind of weird. Like when they go to the first compound and they break in, they're basically just stealing a hunk of adamantium off of that dude's desk.
Yep.
Which, for whatever random reason, they knew was there. Like it was a paperweight. It wasn't like he was flaunting it around like, "Hey, look what I got." They just went and got it off of his desk and basically killed everybody for the paperweight.
but it was a cool scene though when they got off the elevator and went through that room. And then Ryan Reynolds was going through. They were shooting, and he's just blocking everything with the swords.
I feel like Ryan Reynolds was just like, I want to be Deadpool super bad, so I'll do this. Because, like, reading that script, at some point he had to realize what they were going to do with him. Mm-hmm. And I would have been like, I'm out. I can't
So is that
this.
not a good move they made? With what they did with him as the Deadpool character?
Oh, it's horrible.
Because that's not even close to, like, the comics, right?
No, it's nothing like the comics. Like, what we got from Deadpool is the actual Deadpool character, and really the only thing they did was use his name and the fact that he was a mercenary. Because everything else about this Deadpool is absolutely
I did think about that, because,
right.
like, honestly, when I saw it the first time, I'm not brushed enough to know that, to know that wasn't the character, so I just assumed, I was like, okay, cool. Ryan Reynolds
as Deadpool.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, I've heard of Deadpool.
Right.
So he can speak.
Yes, and that's one of the biggest things.
Yeah, that's one of his
like
gimmicks.
his entire thing is the merc with a mouth. But in this movie, they made
set
him
you
a
up that
merc
way at first.
without a mouth.
Right.
But they set you up that way.
Oh
at first.
yeah, most definitely. If they use like that character all the way up until so imagine this. Let's cross streams. So you have that character in this movie all the way up to the point until they change him. So imagine that he just went on this whole mission and then he went back to that bar in Deadpool. It's the same character up until that point.
Yeah.
Like that's the character. But then that's where the character ends because they go back to this Wolverine bullshit and it becomes out of hand, completely out of hand.
It's 20th Century Fox releases all the X-Men stuff, right?
Right.
Yes.
This is for you, 20th Century Fox.
Yes. I second that emotion very much.
So, they steal the paperweight.
Right. Steal the paperweight, and then basically what comes down to is Wolverine is just tired of the bullshit. He's over it. He sees the violence that they're doing. He doesn't like the way Victor's handling shit, and he wants out. So he does what so many superheroes these days do, and I think he kind of started this trope. He runs off and becomes a lumberjack or a miner or whatever.
He's a lumberjack and he's okay. He works all night and he sleeps all day.
And in the meantime, we start. The whole point of this is learning the origins of where he got his name and how he became Wolverine. So we
not live in that house.
No,
there's no Wi-Fi. Obviously, probably no cable. Probably satellite's going to do you no good. Do they even have power?
They did have power. They had that at least.
What do you do all day? You're going to kill someone. You spend that much isolated time
Apparently
together.
her.
You talk.
And then he goes and cuts down trees and comes back and cuts her down.
Yeah, I guess if you just spit, that's why you become a lumberjack. Just so you can get tired enough to sleep away every day. Seriously, do you look at that now? Like, I can't watch movies about like old times without internet and shit because I'm like, oh, just like it's like every movie becomes a horror movie and a nightmare movie to me. I have become so spoiled by technology.
I think so.
I'd be okay if I had to spend the remainder of my days in a room as long as they gave me cable and Wi-Fi.
I think I found that most people, when watching movies, spend more time looking up who's in the movies.
When you're sitting at home going, hey,
Yeah.
what else was they?
not at the movie, but like when you're sitting at home and you're watching a movie, you're like, dude, I know that guy from somewhere, and then you're like, who is that?
What would you choose if you had to give up one for the rest of your life? Television or internet? And don't say television because I'll watch TV on the internet because then it'll all be blocked. Hulu, Netflix, it'll all be blocked. Like you'll have no access to it. You'll have access to everything else.
I thought I found a loophole.
Sports, you can only watch highlights. TV shows, you can only see trailers of the shows and clips. You can't watch actual TV, but like TV or internet, what would you give up?
Is email considered part of internet?
Yeah.
Okay.
But you're not emailing shows. If someone emails you a show, there's a filtered system that will
No.
block it.
No. I was referring to, if I could conduct business via email, like for the show.
Oh, okay. You doing a lot of business through email? What the fuck else you got going on in your
we haven't
life?
seen any of it.
Okay. Well, there's not any, but if there was any, I say I'd give up the internet.
So you just asked a clarifying question if you would be allowed to do your business that you, I guess, have going on. I don't know if you're like smuggling in refugees or
That's
cocaine.
why I was asking. That's why I was asking.
But
If I could do it, then that's fine. I'll give that up.
Now, you do realize if you give it up the internet, you'd give up podcasting and everything else.
No, because we still have the equipment. We can still record it. And you can upload it.
I haven't given my answer yet. What if I said TV too? Then you're fucked.
Well, we're in different
No,
scenarios.
if you said TV, you keep the internet.
No. If I'm saying I want to keep TV.
Oh, okay.
If I were to keep TV too, we're fucked.
So why did you ask the email question if you were going to... It had no bearing on your answer.
Yeah.
So if you wouldn't have been able to do the business that you have, then
I would
that's
give up
secretive,
TV.
Then if you weren't able to do it, then you would want to keep the internet.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
That makes no sense.
I'm lost. But my answer...
That makes no sense whatsoever.
My answer is...
That's like saying, hey, do you want this wallet? And they're like, oh, well, does this $50 bill come with the wallet? And you're like, yeah. And they're like, no thanks. Like, that's what the equivalent of what he just said.
Right.
Same thing.
It is the same thing.
It's the exact same thing. Judges, it's the same thing. Are you sure, judges? Take a second to think about it. They're sure. Vic?
So I would give up TV in a heartbeat.
All right, so...
Very
Would have
easy
been better
for
if you
me.
would have gone with giving up the internet too, so you could have fucked him in his own little corner.
No, because I'm not. He's going to have to pay me to do the work for him.
Oh, there you
Fuck
go.
that.
Do you pay me?
What?
Vic, he would enjoy.
No,
he would enjoy the thought of being able to pay a black man to do things for him. So.
Just so he can say he's giving his
Yeah,
reparations.
the money is not. Yeah. Now you'll stop your bitching.
All right.
And that's the only way he's going to pay you is just flicking it out like he's making it rain. That's how he's going to pay you for doing it.
Here's your 40
All
acres
right.
and mule, bitch.
So moving on.
Moving right along.
Where were we at in the story, Vic? We're at, yeah, he's a lumberjack.
Yeah, so because of the violence and the disregard for human life that the others in the group have, they know that they're better, so they don't care, so they're just killing everybody with no disregard. So he quits, and 6 years later, we come across him as a lumberjack. He's living with his Indian
what we'd
girlfriend.
already recapped.
He's living
We're
with his
doing
Indian.
that, Vic. We just had a whole
He's
conversation
living
about
with his
lumberjack.
Indian
Why did you feel
girlfriend.
the need to tell him again?
He's living with his
Just had
Indian
a whole
girlfriend.
conversation.
He's living with his Indian girlfriend, Silver Fox.
In a house that looks like no one would want to live in it? Do you think it has power, Vic? Does the house have power?
Would he choose internet or TV?
The show's off the rails. All right. Let's just go through every goddamn detail. How about they drive, and it's an overhead shot of the truck driving through the woods as he gets dropped off at work.
Well, not before he gets stuck in a bridge with two jackasses talking and gets pissed off.
Yeah, which I thought was like, I was like, this is a dumbass scene until later you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I get it now.
I got it. That makes sense.
But they're supposed to be Canadians. They're supposed to be nice, so I don't understand.
Oh, yeah, it was very un-Canadian.
Yeah, very un-Canadian.
Canadian would never block the road and then try to fight you for asking to move. Do you honk horns at people? Are you a quick honker?
That depends.
No.
What does it depend on?
If they are the lead car at a red light, it turns green, and they sit there and don't pay attention.
How long?
Oh, I give them like 3 seconds, 4 seconds.
I bet you don't even give them that long. Because I remember when I took this like video defensive driving thing because I had a ticket. So like they sent me, they mailed me a video I had to watch, a VHS tape I had to watch, and then like fill out this questionnaire thing about the videotape where you couldn't fast forward supposedly because then you would miss answers. Like, have you ever seen that?
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So to make sure that you couldn't just fast forward because I did it twice, right? And the first time I did it, they would always like show some videos, some people talking in like a fake classroom scenario with actors and stuff, and then it would be like the answer to these questions is that. So you could just, fast forward till you see the correct answers, pause it, write them in, and then keep going.
Right.
Well, they figured out people were doing that apparently, because the next time I had to do it, which is a few years later, they even say like on the box like you cannot fast forward. They're giving randomly throughout the thing, and what they would do is they would be doing the classroom bullshit, and then the guy would just casually go, and the answer to 78 is B. And then they keep talking, so you had to watch the whole thing. So I smoked a lot of weed. But that's the one thing I remember is that dude was like, if you try this next time you're at a red light, just sit still for 2 seconds. Count 2 Mississippis in your head and see how many people honk at you. Everyone will fucking honk at you. I didn't even make it to sis. It was Missy, and people were honking at me. I bet that's you.
Probably.
People tend to honk at me at first, and then when they end up next to me, they never make any kind of eye contact, and they just speed up.
You think it's out of guilt or fear?
Yeah, one or the other.
Both.
One or the other.
Mine depends on my mood. Because normally I try to treat driving as like an enjoyable experience. I get to listen to, especially if I'm by myself. I get to listen. Like, when I'm with my daughter, I love, it's fun, but I have to listen to, a lot of Katy Perry and everything else. When I'm by myself, I especially like driving, so I like to listen to my podcast or some Tribe, and I like to keep it very relaxed. I leave places early enough to get there early, usually, not today.
We're not going to talk about that.
Yeah. Well, because I'm the Vic today. That's what we figured out based on the audio directions here of recording.
Yeah,
usually
exactly.
Vic's the one that can't hear anybody but himself and the sound effects. I'm Vic today, so I also was like, well, I better show up an hour and a half late if I'm the Vic. So, but if I'm in a bad mood, doesn't even matter if I'm like not running late, nothing. If I'm in a bad mood for whatever reason, I hate everyone on the road. Everything they do is dangerous and annoying, and I honk.
Mm-hmm.
Like my executive producer Molly Smith used to get so mad at me because she'd get anxiety. I yelled at a cop in Brown County because I was standing outside of my car. Because
Brown County sounds like someplace I don't want to be.
I know you would think it would be like a safe haven for you, but that's a trick.
I heard.
There's no brown people
I
there.
heard Whitesville is where all the black people are.
It's so white. It's so white. They've set up like a throwback to like the 40s little area, the shopping area, where it's just all white people buying white shit, jam, homemade jam, and beef jerky and shit. But anyways, we were leaving there. We went and had lunch one day, and there was really bad traffic. Like we were stopped for like 7-8 minutes. And so I finally I stand outside of I open the door and put like one leg and stand to kind of see what's going on. And this cop just starts screaming at me from the next lane, get back in your fucking car, get back in your fucking car. And I'm not exaggerating and adding the fuckings like most people do when they tell a story. He literally, that's verbatim. Get back in your fucking car, get back in your fucking car. And I go fuck yourself. And she's like, oh my God, don't you have weed in here? And I'm like, no, I didn't bring any weed. And she's like, oh my God, he's still going to pull us over. And I'm like, for what? For cursing at him? He cursed at me.
Right.
It's not illegal to curse at a cop, right?
It's
I
not.
don't know.
Nope.
I don't think it is.
It's not.
I mean, I don't think you can berate them and everything. I think it becomes harassment at a point. But me just yelling, go fuck yourself is not a crime, right?
Look, if a cop walks up to me and drops an N-bomb, and I curse at him back, and he tries to arrest me, fuck that. I'm getting money.
Yeah.
I don't know the law, so
I don't think that's
I've
the
never
law.
been cursing. They're people. They are.
Yeah, I don't think it's
like
against
us.
the law to tell someone to go fuck themselves. I don't think you could be in his face and doing it.
It will get him pissed, and he will find a reason to give you a ticket, possibly. But it's not against the law.
I was ready. I had no weed on me. I tell you what, I am a cocky motherfucker behind the wheel when I don't have drugs. When I have drugs, I am the most apologetic. I'm so sorry. That is my fault. I'm gonna let me just.
They wouldn't search you.
Let me just lie in the shadows.
They come and they pull my car over and search it.
Yeah, there's a black guy in front of me.
You're like, officer, you see that black guy behind me? He looks awfully suspicious. Sorry, Vic.
I think I saw a taillight out.
He's got a white woman in the passenger seat.
She doesn't look like she wants to be there.
Looks like she needs help. That's
All
actually
right.
happened to me before. I don't want to talk about it.
All right, we've got to go. Vic?
So he is in a relationship. His girlfriend's name is Silver Fox, and she's giving him this whole thing about how... Holy fuck. She's giving this whole...
We're wasting a lot of time talking about lumberjacks and traffic.
She gives him this whole spiel about how he should be named after a fucking Indian god or some shit like that. Wolverine. Stryker shows up and
I'm
tells him,
just
"Hey,
kidding.
if
You do have a few more minutes. I mean, we're not going to do that to you. This will be a little bit longer episode, but
Stryker
it
shows
is on the
up.
horizon. I just want you to know that, Vic. It could come at any moment.
I
So
need to
tread
take that shit away from you.
carefully.
So Stryker shows up and he tells him that he needs his help because Zero shows up. One of his old teammates shows up and tells him that someone's targeting the whole team. They're killing everybody. These people are dead, and he needs to help. And he's like, "No, I don't want to be involved with this anymore." Blah blah blah.
That the Asian dude?
Yeah, Zero's the Asian, is the Agent Zero. And he's like, "Okay," and Wolverine just takes off. And when he gets home,
Hang on, how bad do you think he felt? Oh, he's Weapon X. He's Weapon 11.
right.
I'm Agent Zero.
And they made him Asian, which he wasn't in the actual comic book.
Did he just have dark hair?
That's it.
Like, what was her name? Didn't they make her Asian too? Oh my God, it was like one of my daughter's favorite ones.
Psylocke?
No. Choose the girl.
Jubilee.
Jubilee.
She's Asian. She's Korean.
Oh, she is Asian?
Yeah.
Oh,
She's
okay. I thought
Korean.
that was another one they just made Asian.
No. They did that. She's actually Korean. Anyway, so he goes back home and he finds out that his girlfriend's been killed. She's
Well, no, he doesn't go back home. He smells it. Remember?
No.
Yeah, he smells it while he's at work.
While he was working.
I literally watched
No,
this movie this
no,
afternoon,
no.
Vic.
He smelled something, but
He
it wasn't
smelled Lee
her.
Schreiber.
Yeah,
And then he
smelled him.
goes to find Lee Schreiber and he finds her dead.
Right.
But it's not at home, right?
No.
It's just like in the woods.
Yeah, I was in the woods.
It wasn't because she's driving her car when he stops it.
Right.
You're right. Anyway, yeah, I was saying he don't remember him smelling her dead. I knew he smelled Victor and knew there was something going on. And when he tracked him down, he found his girlfriend dead. Stryker shows up and he's like, "Hey, maybe you should come join us because somebody's targeting us and we think Victor's gone off the rails."
Real quick, I think I'm kind of a germaphobe because, like, if that was me, even if I found, like, my girlfriend dead like that, after, like, a few seconds of realizing she was dead,
you'd be like, "Oh, damn."
yeah, I'm holding a dead body. Ugh. I would just, like,
it's
ew.
decomposing in my hands.
Like, can't I just grab part of your shirt sleeve that doesn't have blood on it and
Maybe poke
cry
you with a
out in
stick?
pain? Can I do that? Or just
No.
let me kneel beside you. I'll put my hands in the air. I'll put my hands in the air. Like, why? Let me do that move. That's romantic. So yeah, she's dead, and he goes looking for.
Stryker talks him into coming to the Weapon X program because he can give him the power he needs to stop Victor. So he agrees to it, and he ends up going and being basically fucking laced with adamantium over his entire body.
But yeah, and it wasn't is it the other Wolverine story where it was done against his will? Mm-hmm. So this is like, because he volunteered for this.
Yeah.
So this is deviating away as well.
Yeah.
So the comic book fans hate this movie?
They did this on purpose. Like they were trying to rectify what they did in the first movie. Like they've been doing this. Like all of the X-Men movies are just them trying to fix what they fucked up in the one before. And this is no different. Like this origin story this is what what they feel like how it should have gone down. Even though what they did in this, like the whole thing with him escaping and going out into Alkaline Lake and the whole headgear shit and the diaper looking thing, that's all from the actual story. So they
and
still
if you remember too, in
did that
was
part.
it First Class, that they did the exact same thing. Or was no,
No, it was Apocalypse.
It was Apocalypse.
Where because he's in there. He's in that building and he's running around with the shit hanging off.
yeah. They end up doing it from a different like angle, if you will.
Right. So they imbue him with adamantium, which means his body, because of his healing factor and how fast it works, they've tried this with other people and it's killed them. They're trying it with him because they feel like they can enlace his bones with the adamantium and he's going to heal fast enough that it's not going to kill them, and they were correct.
Would you do this?
Get adamantium? If you had that kind of healing ability?
No, yeah. If you're him, would you do it?
Voluntarily? I don't know.
It looked really painful.
Oh, yeah. Well, the way they describe it in the comic book is it was fucking death. Like, he thought he was going to die. So, yeah, I don't know if I would go.
I think
through
I
that.
would, because it took, 12 hours? I could do that. If I'm that strong already, I could deal with that for 12 hours to be indestructible for the rest of my life.
Well, not the rest of your life, because the shit gets yanked out of him.
Because what?
It gets yanked out of him.
What about Magneto?
Magneto
That's
sucks
his
the shit out
mistake.
of him.
Never would do that.
What do you mean?
Never. No,
Would
never.
never get
You would
close
never
enough.
fight Magneto?
No, fuck that. No.
You'd be like, he's Magneto.
Dude, I would just go travel and challenge people to fights at bars. Be my entire life, and then I'd fuck their girlfriend after I killed them with my claws.
You'd fuck him with the
This
claws
is
or
going
kill
a
them?
really, really
No, I
dark.
killed them with my claws. Well, maybe.
You
Depends on what they're into.
you didn't put that in the right order, my friend.
I know. I'm realizing that
It's
now.
going a little dark there. So, long story short,
That's for me.
Logan escapes from the Weapon X program and basically starts trying to track down Victor and figure out what he's doing because he wants revenge for the death of his girlfriend. He goes back and visits all of the X members of the X Squad and goes to, what's his name? Fred Dukes, who's the Blob.
Well, first he goes to lives with that old couple.
Yeah.
Like after he escapes,
and
That's
and
where
then
he gets
they
his
find
jacket and
him.
the motorcycle.
Well,
Yeah.
they find him. Don't gloss over that. Like it's kind of a big plot point because it's where they find him and try to kill him.
well,
And
yeah.
that's when he knows he has to go find the other.
He has to
people.
go find the other group. So yeah, the old man. They add so much shit into this just to like, I guess, fan service. A lot of fan service. So like the whole that motorcycle situation with him, the jacket, like all of that is just fan service. Like
So you're saying
they
the real
wrote
Wolverine
it in
doesn't
there.
dress?
No, he does.
Like Jesse-
That's what I'm saying. They put it in there specifically just to appease the fans because they wanted him to look and they wanted him to do all the things that he does in the comic books exactly the way they did in the movie. They tried to put it in the movie as fan service to us because apparently we can't live without him having a motorcycle and a leather jacket.
Well, you know, a lot of people bitch if there's something that they want in there.
Well, they did it, but then they turn around and do it again in the X-Men movie where he steals Cyclops' motorcycle. So they just keep repeating the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
Like it's just recycling the same, like I guess, quote unquote, comic book trope for that particular character. So he goes through. I'm starting to get Whitaker eye here, so I can't.
Oh, okay.
focus.
We gotta hurry up.
It's throwing me. You might have to help in.
I know. I can help motivate you.
Yeah, no, don't you do it. So there's too much.
So he goes to find everybody, but guess what? They're all dying. And guess who's killing them? Lee Schreiber. And, he goes to a freak show and kills a white guy who can turn shit on with his mind. That's a pretty weak superpower to have, by the way.
Played by Dominic Moynihan.
Yeah. So then Logan finds out that there's an island that's hiding in plain sight. That they can, that they're taking mutants to experiment on them.
And it's Gambit that tells him.
And it's Gambit that, well, no, Gambit doesn't tell him.
No, he goes
They
to find
tell
Gambit.
him Gambit is the only one who has escaped. And they go, he goes with Wyclef Jean to go find Gambit. And he runs into him at a New Orleans club.
And you know who's playing poker with him? Poker champion Daniel Negreanu.
Oh, that's right. I forgot to look for that.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. I used to really be into like professional poker.
Yeah, me
and
too.
I remember when he was made that cameo because everybody was like, "Oh, that's the kid. It's kid poker.
Yep.
It's kid poker." Like
Vic's like, I don't know nothing about
yeah,
it's the white thing, Vic.
I guess.
Except for Phil Ivey.
that. I don't know.
I like Phil Ivey.
I don't know. He may have been taken by the whites in the race draft.
Oh, well, we're gonna have to stop the
Really?
music.
Really?
The race draft.
Come on, a Dave Chappelle joke? Really?
Yeah. Sorry, wrong show.
Damn it!
So he then meets Gambit. They go to the island, and he releases all the mutant kids. Some
3
of them
Mile
are
Island.
what?
3 Mile Island.
Whatever. They. I'm sorry, I didn't get the name of it.
Well, it's just the irony that they used 3 Mile Island as because of the meltdown on 3 Mile Island was apparently caused by this experiment because of fucking what's his face.
I didn't know that. I know 8
You
Mile.
didn't know what 3 Mile Island is?
No, I know 8 Mile.
No, well, that's a completely different thing. Anyway,
Yeah. Were they doing any mutated rap battles on your island? Here's the thing. So then he releases all the kids who some of them you're like, some of them are probably evil. Maybe just been a little more careful with who you're just releasing from cells. But they all get out, including a young Cyclops who had already fucked up his school with his eyes. By the way, he's obviously been wearing the sunglasses every day. Why now are you just now telling him and giving him detention for not taking them off?
I think it had just kicked in.
Oh, okay, like puberty, like the claws. Okay.
Right.
Well, still, wouldn't you be like, hey, it's not that I want to be a dick. I just don't want to murder everyone in here.
Right,
He
like my
didn't
head
know.
really hurts. I need to wear these glasses. I'm sorry. They never gave me a hard time about wearing them in fucking school.
With your fourth grader cry? That's because they didn't want to see that shit. So he releases all the mutant kids, including, he finds out his girlfriend's been alive this whole time.
Yep.
You know, and I mean, I tell you what, when
Silver Fox. You're surprised?
so she's been alive, they faked her death, and then
see
she's like all apologetic and shit, but
Did you
it's
see
just
who her
like
sister was?
the Diamond Girl,
Yeah. Do you know who that is?
Yeah, she's in.
Colossus's baby.
No.
She's in.
It would be Emma Frost.
Yeah, it's Emma.
And Emma Frost is in every other movie like 20 years older than she is in this movie.
Yeah, it kind of got the age off a little bit there.
It's fucked it all up.
But they what were we talking about?
The girlfriend.
Oh yeah. She's like, I'm so sorry. We had was real. It was just that. But then they told me they had my sister. It's like when your girlfriend tells you, or you find out she cheated on you, and she tells you like, well, he came on to me. You still fucked him, bitch. Doesn't matter who came on to who. He still was a dick inside you.
Matter whose
That's the
fault it
point.
was.
Yeah, you still had a dick inside you. That's how I looked at what his girlfriend did to him. If I would have been there, I'd have been a good friend to him. I've been like, bruh, she's still here, trying to help kill you, like kind of shitty. But he finds out also she didn't tell you she was a mutant too.
Right.
Like that would have probably been helpful.
Right.
Like, I just have the power to have people do what they want when I touch them. Oh, so that's how this relationship
This is
is
mind
worked?
freak. What is
that why I'm living in a house with no Wi-Fi and no cable? Every night I come home and you tap me on the shoulder and tell me this is where I want to live.
What else did you make me do that I don't remember?
Yeah. We have any kids? Because I damn sure didn't want to do that. But yeah, she's a lying bitch. Then we find out that they have the fake Deadpool that everybody was so mad about.
Yeah, and basically what happened with him is they were taking everyone's powers, and I guess they wanted to do that to Wolverine, but because he jacked out and he was like, "I'm out," and they ended up doing it to Deadpool.
And yeah, remember, like that's the thing. That's Lee Schreiber being put in his place too. Give me the shit.
Yeah.
You couldn't handle it. No, I can do anything he does. Nah, sorry, bro.
It's like, nah, bro.
That's like Seth Curry and Steph Curry.
Yeah.
They keep going up to Seth and going, well, we're going to give you a job because your name. But you ain't that. So we meet Deadpool, who's a collection of all the powers.
Yeah.
But see, to me, I thought that was a cool character. Somebody who just uses everyone else's powers.
It's just, I don't know.
It's hard to accept because you know those not Deadpool's real powers.
Well, no, it's not even that. It's just that, like, having the ultimate, like, mutant, and you just happen to be able to... If they did that, they wouldn't be able to control him. He would just fucking take off and start killing everybody and anybody he wanted to. Mm-hmm. There's no way they could control him.
What if they would have named the character just Weapon 11? Would have mentioned no name of Deadpool. Do you think it would have been more well-received?
I think it was too ridiculous. Like, they made it absolutely too ridiculous. Even if I didn't know about Deadpool, period, okay? And that character was put out there, it's just too ridiculous of a character. He has katanas that come out of his arms. They just look ridiculous.
Yeah,
like,
it did look like those blades would, like, break or some shit.
Yeah, for no good reason, he can fire lightning bolts out, plasma bolts out of his eyes with no issues. Like, at least Cyclops has to wear the glasses Ruby Quartz glasses in order to be able to not blow his own eyelids and kill everybody out, you know? Like, it's just a weird thing to have him have all of those things. And then being able to teleport and just doing everything that every mutant possibly can do is just boring to me, honestly.
It's like the Golden State Warriors. Second reference to that team tonight.
Break them up.
Break him up.
So then, but of course, he's no match for both the illegitimate children of a a white slave.
I think they called them indentured servants.
Oh, excuse me. We called them house crackers. But they take him out. Wolverine cuts his head off. And then, then they're just like, oh, yeah, we're buddies again. Like, oh, man, I remember because, like, he saves them. Nobody gets to kill you but me.
Yeah, I wouldn't. It's...
you just need me, motherfucker.
I would have liked to have had this movie. Like, this movie could have been, like, 10 times better if they had have just done some of the things that actually, like, follow the storyline a little bit better.
If they would have let us write it.
Well, no, not even that, but, like, just taking some of the actual things from, like, Sabretooth's personality. Sabretooth, like, that whole thing where he killed the girlfriend and, like, made sure he could smell him type of thing, that's what Sabretooth does. He, like, hides off in the shadows and does, like, fucked up things to Wolverine without actually ever running up and, like, pissing him off. He just, like, does little things to aggravate him so badly that Wolverine starts hunting him, and then he kicks the shit out of Wolverine. But, like, they just have him, he's just some asshole that knows he can regenerate, so he just picks on everybody and whatever. It's just, like, it's not the way the character is portrayed. I like Leave.
Sure.
I like him, like, as an actor, and, like, because of this movie, I really kind of picked up on him as an actor and watched a lot more of his stuff. Because he did a great job as Sabretooth. I just think that they didn't give him a very good backstory as Sabretooth.
Well, let's not forget the very ending, where Stryker is told to keep walking.
Yeah, the chick, well, they try to kill Wolverine again. He's like, oh, we have adamantium bullets. We're going to shoot him in the head. That'll kill him. They tried it once before. It didn't work.
Well, but they tried again. They know it's not. He knows it's not going to kill him.
Right.
But he does. Stryker does put 2 in his head. Which if he puts 2 in his head, it's going to fuck up his memories, and he won't remember anything. Mm-hmm. And so then he goes over and his ex-girlfriend now is as she's dying. Thing. Yeah, she tells him to walk until his feet bleed, and then keep walking. Which so it doesn't wear off. She can change literally. Yeah, everything about your life with a touch.
I think that the idea is she can determine how long it lasts for. So
okay.
If she says, go do this, you go do this. But if she puts in the contingent, do this until your feet bleed and then keep going until you can't do it anymore, he's just going to keep going.
Love me forever.
Now, do you remember that there were 2 or 3 endings to this movie in the theaters?
Yeah.
And depending on whatever theater you went to, you saw a different
What?
ending. Yeah.
It's a dick move.
Yeah. They're like, hey, did you see this ending? No.
Smart, though.
Yeah, except for the internet.
Yeah. Yeah, YouTube killed it. Everybody's like, oh, let's see what the other ones were.
Yeah, as soon as they did that, everyone was like uploading the end of the movie.
I think that was one ending where
that was the ending that I saw.
And then there's another one where Deadpool comes back alive from underneath a bunch of rubble at the bottom of that thing that they were fighting on. I think wasn't there a third one?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if there was a third one. I know that one, but I don't know if there was a third
well,
one.
then he leaves, and we find the kidnapped mutants meet Professor Xavier.
Right.
And this is a different Professor Xavier.
Yeah.
That's the old Professor Xavier. This Professor X has legs. He has legs.
Yes, he does.
And so, they meet up, but again, according to other X-Men movies, he loses the power to walk while he still has hair and looks like James McAvoy. So
this whole franchise is just ridiculous.
Yeah, they
the third one was he was in Wolverine was in a Japanese bar. Damn it. It doesn't even say exactly what happened, but that's where the third one was. That was the third ending.
Excellent contribution.
Probably leading into...
I think that's where Xavier and Magneto showed up.
And asked him to help him.
Yeah.
And he eventually tells him to fuck off.
Yeah.
So then, basically, that's the end of the movie.
Yeah, that's it.
He gets up and doesn't remember shit, but doesn't he just leave, like, Gambit's like, hey, come on, brother.
Yeah.
And he's like, whoa, who are you? And he's like, really? You're the reason
shit?
I'm here. I was winning money in a card game and I have beautiful women sitting next to me.
Got me into a fucking fight.
Yeah. So that's it. That's the movie. And we are going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back with more of the award-winning Showdown podcast.
We'll be right back.
It's commercial time. Corey, I am not going to trick you this week. I'm not going to tell you it's your turn and have you start speaking and then cut you off. You have my word. Vic, go ahead.
You can find me at MillerKing51 on social media and as Black and Angry, that's BLAQ and Angry on all gaming platforms.
You see what I did there?
Oh,
I
yeah.
tricked you because you thought I was still going to tell you to go first and I just wasn't going to interrupt you, but instead I didn't give you the chance to speak.
Yeah.
Kind of like I'm going to do now. You can find me at BradScottComedy.com. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at BradScottComedy. Comedian Brad Scott on Facebook. And follow the show at The Showdown Pod on Twitter and Instagram. And The Showdown Podcast on Facebook. Click like somebody should. And the music.
Nice job.
All right, go ahead, Corey.
All right. You can find me on Twitter and Letterboxd at NKOGonzo. Also, don't forget our other show that Vic and I do called the Miller Times Podcast, where we do talk TV, weekly TV. We have DC, Walking Dead, Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Star Trek and Sword Art Online are some of the other side ones we do. Hopefully Brad will be back on our show at some point.
Wow. Nice plug.
You're welcome.
Also, listen to WrestleMania with an A. WrestleMania. Available on iTunes, Stitcher, and Podomatic. Me and Brent Terhune are two comedians. It's not pro wrestling talk. It's sports entertaining. And now, back to the show.
Vic seemed impressed with that.
All right, pretty good.
I have nothing to say.
Welcome back to the award-winning Showdown Podcast. This week's episode is X-Men Origins Wolverine. I vote this is the greatest cartoon theme music ever. I agree. Corey, you have a challenger? Maybe something.
Theme, like cartoon theme song. I gotta go with Silverhawk. That's fucking. The start to that is fucking epic.
You just need to touch the mark.
That's Silverhawk.
I still think this is better, though. This is by far my favorite. It was my ringtone for it.
Like a mask, too.
Sounds dark, sounds kind of badass. It goes perfectly with the show. All right, so
Dark and badass.
We
That's
are-
what I like to call myself when I'm alone.
we're back. We have our results. So, Vic, why don't you go first?
So, this movie has everything that I love about the characters in the Wolverine, Sabretooth. It's got all of that, but it does not stand up for me. I watched it again and realized that it just kind of made me mad. I already didn't like the whole Deadpool thing, so I discounted that as not even like a contributing factor to the movie. But then watching it, it's just I don't feel like they gave me enough Sabretooth. I don't feel like they gave me enough attitude with enough interaction between Wolverine and Sabretooth, even though he was supposed to be a serious main character in the movie. It just became another Wolverine versus, Trask and the Weapon X program, and that's just kind of boring to me, and it just didn't hold up.
For me, it did. I liked it. I know it's goes away from all that, but I think if you look at it just as a movie on its own, it's entertaining.
As long as you don't know any of the history of the characters.
Well, and I knew some of the history of some of them, but I didn't know all the history of all of them. So that stuff didn't bother me as much, especially the first time I saw it, because I knew very little about Deadpool. And so while I knew more this time, it still didn't bother me that much. I thought it was cool how one character was doing all that shit. So maybe it's because I'm not as attached to the source material, but I enjoyed it this time when I watched it again. And I remember thinking I don't think I'm going to, enjoy watching this. And I did. I had my attention the entire time. I didn't feel bored at any point.
I really remember my excitement when I first heard about it. I was like, oh, they're gonna do a Wolverine movie with Sabretooth, and they're gonna do Sabretooth right, because that's what they build it as. They're like, oh yeah, they're gonna finally do a movie with Sabretooth in it. No, they really didn't. They missed the mark on a lot of things with Sabretooth that they should have hit. And all they did, the savagery was right, like him not giving a fuck about human life. That's Sabretooth. But the amount of shit that he likes to do to fuck with Wolverine, they didn't even touch on it. like at all.
And that means it's 1-1, so it kind of all comes down to Corey.
Uh-oh.
No pressure.
What's it going to be?
So, while I don't think this movie is as bad as everybody says it makes it out to be, I mean, I think a lot of people almost put it on the level of Green Lantern as far as being bad. I don't think it's that bad, but I still don't think it holds up. I mean, it misses, like Vic said, it misses the marks on a lot of things, and it could have been so much better.
Just killed the drama.
Yep.
Could have spread that out a little bit. Could have.
That's all I had.
All right. So it does not go into the Hall of
It
Fame.
does not.
It is not a survivor. You are broken.
You only play that.
I'm sorry. I think Bay needs it. Queen Bay.
I don't think Green Bay needs anything.
Been attacked recently. So
Okay, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
I have a question for you.
Okay.
So they're coming out with a bunch of new X-Men based movies. I know you're saying you don't know a lot about it as far as like the characters and stuff
I
like
know
that.
some.
but-
I mean, I wouldn't say I'm like ignorant of the whole thing.
Okay, so do you know who the New
I watched the
Mutants are?
cartoon as a kid. I don't know what.
Do you know who the New Mutants are?
No.
Okay. So this is one that if they do this, if they even half do this right, this could be a phenomenal movie in this thing. So basically what it is the New Mutants was the first spin-off that they ever made from the X-Men, and basically it's all of the kids that were just graduating from Xavier's School for Gifted Children and had nothing to do. So they made a group out of them, and they're like the misfit kids of Xavier's school. And the story behind them is, one, it's intriguing because they're just kind of trying to figure out what the hell they could do now that they don't have school and they're actually not good enough to be like the X-Men. Mm-hmm. So you get like that teen angst trying to figure out life kind of thing, but you have these superpowers that you can destroy the world with. So like the comic books read really, really well.
Ooh,
because
how
of
do you
that.
cut those kids?
Yeah. So that
By
like,
phone.
right?
Unless one of them has the ability to make a phone kill you.
One of them does. His name
Oh.
is Warlock, and
He gets a
he can turn
he gets
into
a text.
He can turn into anything he wants, and he can go into anything he wants.
He gets a text from a burner phone I threw in a trash can.
after he recorded the conversation and then hit play on a recorder and walked away. But yeah, so like that's that. They're talking about making that into a movie, and if they do that, I would be 100% in, and I think they could probably fuck it up, and it would still be pretty good.
Is Fox doing it?
Yeah.
Then they'll fuck it up.
Well, I mean, they have all the rights. All
Listen
the
to
X-Men
this
shit,
guy,
so.
keyboard warrior over here. You guys are just destroying the X-Men franchise.
So then we have Deadpool 2 is going to be coming, and that's going to have Cable in it, which is another very good character. Which hopefully they won't fuck him up.
I know nothing about him.
Cable is the son of Jean Grey and Scott Summers, so Cyclops and Phoenix.
Okay.
He's from the future, so they can very easily pull him out of one of those storylines from where they go into the future. But he has a robotic arm, he's a weapons specialist, and he has really good fucking luck. So it's an interesting kind of mix
What are the
of
other ones?
abilities. They're doing another one called Supernova. This one I have no fucking clue as to what they're doing with it. But it's X-Men 7.
So it'll be Wolverine, Storm, the gang.
Not Wolverine.
I don't know, but I'm thinking it has something to do with
They
with
can't
Phoenix.
do X-Men without Wolverine.
He's done after this though.
After Logan, he's saying this is it.
Okay.
I know.
Until
I
they
kind of
walk up,
thought that the Japanese one was going to be the last straw.
Till
Then
they
I thought
walk
it was
up
gonna
and
be Days
say,
of Future Past.
here's $100 million, and
Yeah,
he's like,
dude.
yeah, I'll do it.
And this is the only. He likes playing this character, obviously.
Look, the movie only cost $50 million to make. The other $100 million was they had to give him the money to do it. So
Yeah,
take
he's
that
gonna
into
do it.
consideration the next time we ask you the budget.
What else will cool white guys dress as for Halloween so they can try to get pussy without having to actually put on a costume? They put on their leather dusters. And
Gambit movie.
Yeah, but is that really happening though?
Yeah, they signed Channing Tatum to play him.
A long time ago, and nothing.
I
has
thought
come up
Gambit
with-
was isn't he supposed to be from New Orleans?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nolans?
Yep.
Yeah.
How's Channing Tatum going to pull off that?
He's going to do the accent.
I should. There's a thing online somewhere of him doing, like, trying to, like, I guess he sent in something to Fox and said, I want to be Gambit, and, like, did, like, his best impression of Gambit or something. It was out there for a while. I don't know what
Dude,
happened
if I
to
was
it,
a Hollywood actor and I wanted to play a role like that, I mean, if I had, like, that kind of money and stuff, I would just hire and basically make my own mini movie of me and that character, like, professional. And then, like, I would walk it in front of all the unknown actors still wanting the same part. They just everyone auditioned.
Well, Thomas Jane kind of did that with Punisher. After he played the Punisher, just a couple of years ago, he did a short film where he was the Punisher again. And there was talk that he may end up doing it, but then John Bernthal got it on Daredevil. So it didn't go anywhere.
What's the other ones?
They're looking at doing X-Force, which is so there's X-Men and then there's X-Force, and basically X-Force is I guess the degenerate version of the X-Men. They're all kind of like anti-heroes almost. They all kind of work right on the fringe of being good guys, but tend to piss off all the good guys. And that's actually led by Cable, which is interesting because then they could actually pull him from Deadpool and move him into X-Force and allow them to bridge the gap there with those two IPs.
If they're smart enough about doing that.
Well, I feel like that they'll probably do it because they'll want to use the same Cable. If they're going to have Cable in Deadpool 2, then they should probably bridge the gap and use him in the actual X-Force movie. But they're talking about Cable being the replacement for Wolverine, because as far as like the character attitude goes, they're very similar in the way that they act. So if they use Cable as a replacement for Wolverine, it might work. Let's see. I think that's about all the ones that... And then they're actually talking about Deadpool 3, and Deadpool 2 hasn't even come out yet, so I don't know what the fuck.
They're talking about what?
They're
Deadpool
talking about
3.
Deadpool 3, and Deadpool 2 hasn't even finished being written yet. So some people got some serious... They just basically said, look, we made a bunch of money off this movie. We're going to run it until the ship sinks. But if it wasn't for Deadpool, we wouldn't have the new Wolverine movie coming out.
I want to see that.
Would not
That's what this episode is coming out this week for. I'm probably going to go see it Friday.
It's going to be good. Like, there's just by watching the trailers.
I am disappointed it's a kid he adopted. I thought it was like his kid.
It's a clone.
Okay,
she's a weapon. She's X-23.
I thought it was like, I was like, oh shit, he's gonna be a single dad. Is he gonna have like sitcom related experiences?
I was gonna say the sitcom music,
having to talk about the first time she has her period. These claws are gonna come out of your hand.
Look, you have to be real careful when you masturbate.
Oh.
That's so wrong.
Who's the dark one on this episode, Vic?
I am. I'm black. What the fuck?
Hang on.
From some of the reviews I've heard, the movie's not that good. It fails in a lot of places.
Yeah.
So you watch the trailers and you go, okay, they put all the good shit in the trailer, which is fine. But even if that's all the movie is just the fight that they've shown, the fights that they've shown, and the things leading up to the fights that they've shown, I'm in. Like
the trailers I haven't seen, they haven't shown much. I saw the one where she's in the convenience store stealing shit, and like a couple others, but I'm not gonna watch anymore. I'm just gonna go see it.
There's a scene where you see Wolverine's claws. He punches a guy in the chin, and you see his claws popping out of the top of his head. For that alone, I'm in, because that means that there's going to be a lot.
Well, that's why it's rated R.
This thing. Yeah.
Maybe I shouldn't bring my daughter. That's what I plan on doing.
It's a lot of bloodshed.
That's all right. She can handle it.
X-20. So I'll give you a little bit of background. X-23 is a clone. They used his DNA to create a clone. The clone has 2 claws in her fist and a claw in each of her feet. So she has 3 claws, but one of them comes out of the middle of her feet.
Damn.
Which is weird.
That'd be painful.
Yeah, she starts kicking, there's trouble. I don't know if they're going to do that part.
She has to wear flip-flops for 365 days.
Whether they start off with flip-flops or not.
She has a healing factor, so it doesn't really matter. The cold's not going to affect her. But I haven't seen anything in the previews yet that shows that she has the 3rd claw, which I'll be disappointed if they don't do that. But in like a lot of the stuff they cloned her and made her older, so having her be this young is kind of interesting too. but also the fact that they're using Old Man Logan, which is really, really dark, kind of sinister and very vicious version of Logan. Like he becomes what Sabretooth should have been. Like he just hates everybody and he wants to kill and beat the fuck out of everybody. So it's pretty good. I think it'll be well worth it. And even if it's not a very well written movie, the bad guy they're using and the cyborgs that they're using in it and like just the story in general will be worth watching.
This has been the Showdown Podcast. Oh, y'all don't know your X-Men movie knowledge, huh? We've talked about this movie literally on this episode that this is from.
I recognize the song, but I don't know the soundtrack. What is the soundtrack for?
First time I ever saw your face, Roberta Flack. The song they play in Days of Future Past when he wakes up in like the apartment in the 70s.
Oh, he's just kind of looking around all over.
Well, yeah, it's like the radio or whatever.
He's like, where the fuck am I and why am I here? Yeah.
I can't believe you remembered that.
I like that song. It's a good
Great
song.
song. I just wouldn't have put it together with that. Like it wouldn't have hit me.
It's a very quiet song as of right now. I kind of expected it to be a little more lively.
We're going on a very soft note, folks. For our
No, let's try this
episode.
again.
That's more befitting the 100th episode of the Showdown Podcast.
We appreciate you guys. We look forward to at least one more episode of the Showdown.
I thought you were going to say 100 more.
Yeah, that's the joke. Perfect way to end our 100th. That's a good bookend. I believe you started off the show by talking about the 100th episode.
That's what I'm here for.
Things might as well stay the same.
That's for Corey Miller, Dick
Yeah,
Miller.
no relation.
I am Brad Scott. This has been the Showdown Podcast. We'll talk to you. I'm Wolverine, y'all.